The Philadelphia 76ers lost to the Toronto Raptors in an almost embarrassing fashion. And I made a video about Joel Embiid a little while ago. I thought his antics were a little amateur, and I kind of figured once the losses started to come that the jokes and the laughing and the celebrating was going to stop, and they have. And now he's resorting to excuse making, and he has the coach resorting to excuse making, and most likely he has his teammates resorting to excuse making. Oh, Joel Embiid was in bed all day, just like the whole James Harden eye situation. Look, if you're hurt, don't play. If you don't feel well, don't play. If it means that you're going to hurt the team, don't play. But if you do play, there are no excuses from anybody. Even when Tom Brady hurt his hand. That is no excuse. If you're playing, you're able to play. But Tom Brady is different. He doesn't resort to excuses. But a lot of players do. And Joel Embiid is one of those players.
Tough night north of the border. Raptors blow them out. Embiid is just not well. He's not playing well, and he's not physically well. 13.6 boards, 8 turnovers. After the game, here was his coach.
I think it's grossly unfair. Some of the criticism that he gets, I don't understand that. And
because he's a professional athlete who gets paid an absurd amount of money to play a game that I can play for free on the weekend. And when he plays well, he's looked at as one of the most dominant players in the NBA. But when he doesn't play well, this is what happens. We're supposed to feel sorry for him. Oh man, well he was sick. He probably had the flu. Everybody wants to be fucking Jordan with these I was sick excuses. I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. Everybody wants to be Jordan. No. If you play, that means you're able to play. That means if you lose and you don't play well, you didn't play well. It doesn't mean you didn't play well because you're sick. You just didn't play well. If I'm sick, I stay home. I stay in bed. I don't try to walk to the fucking store. I don't try to go somewhere knowing that I'm sick and I could potentially pass out. And that's just me walking or whatever. Let alone driving. Like, that's just me doing regular, normal, everyday life shit. You're playing a physical game that you have to... Basketball is a sport where you run up and down the court all fucking game long when you're in the game. And I know when you're sick, fatigue is a huge issue. You mean to tell me this dude is able to play... I believe he played north of 25, 30 minutes. I've never thought about playing a fucking basketball game when I was sick with a cold or a flu. So,
So it's not ideal. It's you wished he were at shoot around. You wished he were in film sessions, but he's had a temperature for the last few days that's kept him in bed, and so
he should have stayed in bed. But since he decided to get out of fucking bed and step on the court and act like he can play, there is no excuse. I don't feel sorry for him. Nobody should feel sorry for him. He made a conscious decision to play. So there are no excuses for being sick. Sorry. I mean, there are no excuses for playing as badly as you do, even if it's being sick. Sorry, I completely fucked that one all up. So I don't want to hear that shit, man.
Take whatever you want out of that answer, and
it's a fucking excuse. It's not an answer. It's an excuse. An answer is he's not playing well. He needs to play better. I need to do better. The team needs to play better. You lose by 36 points, damn near 40, after winning 2 straight games as dominantly as you did, and you lose by 36 points. Yeah, everybody needs to do better.
End it with, it's not ideal. I wished he was at practice, and I wished he was in some film.
Look at the guy in the back. I'm going to rewind it a little bit. Look at the guy in the back. And this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what happens when you act like a fucking clown when you're dominating and you act like a clown. When you're not dominating and you're getting your ass kicked, people remember that shit. And now you don't think it's funny anymore.
And so, take whatever you want out of that answer and end it with, it's not ideal. I wished he was at practice, and I wished he was
that dude right there in the back,
but he's sick.
Let us extend this conversation with the one, the only, Stephen A. Smith, who joins us. He's 13 minutes away from First Take here on ESPN. I'm giving you the floor, Stephen A. We've had a lot of conversation about Joel Embiid this morning. What is your take?
Well, first of all, I think that we need to lean towards Jimmy Butler when we're talking about Joel Embiid. If the man is sick, the man is sick. If he's not healthy, he's not healthy. We know what kind of player he is when he is healthy. He's been perpetually unhealthy. We understand that. I do not.
Then he shouldn't fucking play. If you play, there are no fucking excuses.
Understand, however, how he goes from feeling sick in game 2 to playing lights out in game 3 to suddenly being sick in game 4 to the point where you text your coach.
Because it's an excuse. You play bad in one game, I'm sick. You play great in the next game, you don't hear about it anymore. You play shitty in the next game, now you're sick again. Like, it's a fucking excuse, man. And if you want to build your career, your legacy on excuses, then what the fuck kind of legacy are you, like, why? Why is it something to admire? Why is that something to respect? If when you play great, it's because you're of your greatness. And when you play bad, it's because you're sick, you're hurt. Oh, I've been nursing this rib injury all goddamn year, even though I played at an MVP level. I mean, I've been hurt. Like, every team wants to do that when their fucking team loses. Like, now in sports, we live in the excuse age where everything is always got to be justified. There's always some reason for you not showing up. Come on,
9 hours before a game. I just think that I'm going to focus on that because the reason of it is that I understand that you might not be up to snuff that particular day or whatever. But when you're competing for a championship, every marquee athlete I've ever known, 9 hours before a game, if it's not an injury, if it's simply an ailment, you're saying to them, get the hell over here and help me get better so I can be ready, as opposed to, Coach, I might not be able to go.
And back in the day, man, when players were sick, I'm pretty sure they wasn't in the fucking press conference like, oh yeah, I miss 25 shots because I was having double vision out there. I had a borderline concussion out there. Like, I'm pretty sure they wasn't talking about the shit like it's always something to talk about.
Hours before a game, but that's just me. And Jimmy Butler, coming to Joel Embiid's defense, Jimmy Butler is hard-nosed. He's as honest and candid as they come. And if he says and speaks...
No, I wouldn't. Look, I say all the time that people are way too hard on Jimmy Butler and his leadership skills. I think they're way too hard on him. But in no fucking way do I believe that Jimmy Butler is one of the most honest men in professional sports. I'm sorry. No, I don't believe it. Sorry.
So glowingly about Joel Embiid's character, I'm going to side with him. And I've talked to Joel Embiid on several occasions. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but that doesn't let Brett Brown off the hook.
And this is what will constantly do you win, is when you're willing to give people benefit of the doubt because you like them or you respect their talent or whatever, and you give them benefit of the doubt. This is why these fucking artistic motherfuckers and these niggas that are so good at what they do, this is why they feel like they can just do whatever they want to anybody. And this is what gives them that sense of entitlement, is because of people's love for them. They give them just leeway to do whatever the fuck they want to do. So when an athlete puts his hands on somebody or, is doing drugs or whatever, don't say nothing to fuck to them, because we allowed them to do whatever they want because they're so great in our eyes.
anything, it makes it tougher, especially when you look at Tobias Harris and the way that he's shooting the basketball this series, Ben Simmons and his lack of productivity in this series, Kawhi Leonard and the manner in which he's been giving it to them, and they've had absolutely positively no answer for him. Remember, they won Game 4 in Philadelphia with their second leading scorer, Pascal Siakam, my most improved player of the year winner. This guy had 2 field goals in a pivotal Game 4 that could have put the Sixers in a commanding 3-1 lead that was ultimately neutralized and nullified because of 39 and 14 from Kawhi Leonard. So you don't have your secondary option. Pau Gasol, Kyle Lowry, even though they played better, it wasn't lights out performances that they put forth or what have you, and yet they still walked into the Sixers house and beat them on their home court. So let's take Brett Brown at his word, and let's take Joel Embiid off the hook. Let's listen to Jimmy Butler. Let's take Joel Embiid off the hook. Well, Coach Brett Brown, why the hell you lose Game 4 to a team that had a one-arm, that had one man destroy?
Jalen's face is priceless right now.
And nobody else pretty much showed up. Can you answer that question? When Elton Brand goes out in the during the season, and he acquires Jimmy Butler, and then after that he acquires Tobias Harris?
Real quick, I just want to say something about Pascal Siakam. I don't think that he should win Comeback Player of the Year or Comeback Player of the Year or Most Improved Player. Sorry, Most Improved Player of the Year. I don't think he should win that. I think that award should go to D'Angelo Russell. What that dude is doing, what that dude has done in Brooklyn is fucking phenomenal. I mean, he got the Brooklyn Nets to the playoffs. And yeah, they lost to the Philadelphia 76ers, but, you know, they were just outmanned. But I can see big things coming in the future of the Brooklyn Nets.
How come the other parts around Joel Embiid are not owning up or not getting the job done? If it ain't about Joel Embiid, Brett Brown, then it might be about you. So let's make sure we pay attention to that. Steve?
Real quick, before Jalen starts talking, Brett Brown has his own share of the responsibility, but we cannot take the responsibility away from Joel Embiid. And this is the problem. We're so willing to delegate responsibility when the situation doesn't suit us or people we love and care about. Like my nephews, they make a lot of mistakes in life. And my nieces as well, they make a lot of mistakes in life. And I find myself taking up for them, even though I believe they're wrong. But for me to have their back, I have to completely exonerate them for any wrongdoing they've done, which is irresponsible on my part. And a lot of times we do that with people we love, and a lot of times we do that with ourselves because we can't stand the idea of a punishment not handed down by us. Like when it comes to these professional athletes, when I say punishment, I mean ostracizing, belittling. If it's not coming from us because we love these players so goddamn much, we can't understand and we can't accept the fact that other people have harsh words to say about them. So we pass the fucking buck to somebody that we don't like as much. And Brett Brown seems to be the fucking scapegoat now. Oh, it's Brett Brown's fault. Brett Brown should have them prepared. No. Brett Brown has his own blame to take. But this excuse shit is on Joel Embiid. Because he's the one making the excuse. Now, if this was just Brett Brown saying all this and not Joel Embiid saying anything about being sick, then it's a different conversation. But Joel has come out in press conferences and said, oh man, I didn't feel so good today. I got up, I tried to play, I tried to practice, I just I wanted to lay down, I just didn't feel good. Like, nigga, if you didn't feel good, if you didn't feel like you were able to play, don't play. It puts your team at a disadvantage when their star player is sick out there playing as badly as you are. And this is the problem. If you had 3 straight games where he played like shit, it would be more believable than him playing shitty in one game, playing great in the next game, and then playing shitty in this one. Like, come on, man.
Stephen A. Smith, you look handsome today, sir. And I think
thank you,
as
bro.
you've got
sleepy as hell as I am. Sleepy as hell as I am because I just got in 3 hours ago. Go ahead.
I think as you've gotten a little bit older and you
You can get customized insurance.
spent a lot more time in Philly, you've kind of lightened on what we expect from our all NBA caliber players. You've covered this league for a really long time.
25.
Like 25 years. Okay. It's one thing to have a great game like Joel Embiid did when he went off for 30. During that game, he scored 9 baskets. He celebrated after 5 of them. He did the shimmy, he did the airplane, he did the Hulk Hogan. Now,
he did a whole lot of shit. And then he did one move where he was like pumping his arms in the air. And like, I don't know what the fuck that was. It looked weird coming from a dude that size. Like, it's just weird, man.
he can be sick, like he was allegedly in game 2 or in the previous game. In game 1, we were talking about his knee injury. At some point,
that was a huge topic of conversation. And I remember that shit. That was a huge topic of conversation after game 1 where Toronto won by like 15, where people were talking about it may be time to move on from Joel Embiid because he can't stay healthy. He's always hurt, and I think that that injury is still lingering. You know, based on how bad the team played and shit. And then I believe they won the next game. He scored 4 points. They were still talking injury, but the team won, so they wasn't really focused on it as much. And in game 3, he balled the fuck out, looked incredible doing it. And then they lost the last game, or 2 games ago they lost. I believe Toronto won 2 straight so far. They lost the one before. You know, he was talking about being sick. And then he lost the last one, talk about being sick. Like, come on, man. Like, everything is a fucking excuse with this guy. It's either his lingering injury issues or he's fucking sick. Like, no, man. And this same thing with James Harden. Everybody talk about, oh, man, look how bad his eye is. Look how bad. He could probably see perfectly fucking fine. And this is just my assumption, because I don't know. But if you're dropping 29, 41, 36, and all this other shit, if you're dropping points like that, you have to be able to see the basket. You have to be able, if you're going to dribble the way he does, you have to be able to see the defense. You have to know where the ball is. You have to know what's happening on the court for you to be able to pull off these moves. You're not fucking hurt if you can see, man. It's like this guy I know, man, and I don't want to say his name, but it's like this guy I know. He's a supposed blind dude, but he can still see. I mean, yeah, he can't see well, but when I think blind, I'm talking like can't see nothing. It's just all blurry. I mean, you have vision problems. I mean, it's different than being blind. Blind people can't see. This is just what I was taught as a kid. A blind person can't see. There are people with eye issues, cataracts. They're not blind. And then they started changing the term for blind. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Let's stop trying to fit some fucking... Let's stop changing the terms to fit the argument for people we pity and we feel sorry for or whatever. Let's just stop doing it. James Harden is not blind. Joel Embiid is not hurt. And he's not fucking sick. And if he is sick, he needs to sit down. If he's not sitting down, then he's not fucking sick. Simple as that, man. I'm going to watch a little bit more of this and I'm done.
and as long as you've been around the league, have you ever seen an elite player like this have these type of issues in the playoffs where it affect their performance like this?
Never. Which is why I was bringing the heat. But what I'm saying is that let me be a contrarian for a moment, Jalen, and just say, hey, Brett Brown, let's take you at your word. Well, then who do we look at? I mean, it's almost as if he, as the coach, and some of these players, you know, they don't want journalists, they don't want reporters covering them. They want publicists recording what's going on here because you don't want any kind of objectivity whatsoever being disseminated to the masses, which makes no sense to me. We're watching the game of basketball.
And he's still passing the buck, refusing to blame Joel for for anything. And he's still putting it on Brett Brown. Like Brett Brown is, in my opinion, a player's coach. He's a guy, if the players come to him and if he likes you enough and you tell him, Coach, look, I'm not feeling so well, but it's not enough to keep me out the game. But if I don't play well, I need you to have my back about me being sick. And Brett Brown seems like the kind of guy to be like, sure, all right, fix whatever it is you need to fix, but I'll have you back. That's as far as I would blame him, is for just covering for him. The excuse being made, it should be put on Joel Embiid because that's where we heard it from first. And then everybody else co-signed it.
Joel Embiid did not look sick in Game 3. We were told he was sick in Game 2. He told us he was sick in Game 2. He did not look sick at all in Game 3. Like you said, 9 baskets. He celebrated after 5 of them. That's why Drake and the crew in Toronto last night were all celebrating, doing the airplane in front of him as he was walking to the bench to come out of the game. I didn't even bring up the fact that he was looking at the stat sheet while he was on the bench and they were down 40. I didn't bring that up. I didn't bring that up at all. And so when you look at it...
You should. That's very important in destroying this fabricated view we have on Joel Embiid.
So when we look at it from that perspective, I'm trying to give it because he's a good brother. He's obviously incredibly talented. I wish him nothing but the best. I know a lot of people in Philadelphia because of my 17 years working at the Philadelphia Inquirer. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. We got to call it like we see it.
One quick question, Stephen A. The process has led to the Sixers gaining Embiid, and we know about his injury history, and Ben Simmons, who can't shoot the basketball outside of the paint. Do you think these two guys can be an anchor for Philadelphia moving forward and coexist and make them a title contender?
No. And the reason why I say no is because if they are the same players they are now, but just evolve, if they evolve their talents higher, but not really change what they can do on the floor. Like if this is just a what if Ben Simmons can add a 3-point shot, I'm not talking like shooting 40% from 3. I'm talking maybe shooting 25 to 35% from 3. And not even shooting that many threes. But if he can shoot somewhere in that range and then also knock down a consistent mid-range shot, that's different than what I'm talking about. Like, Ben Simmons is a good passer, a good rebounder, and he can kill smaller players in the paint. If there's not bigger players in the paint to stop him from getting where he wants to go, he can kill smaller, like, guards. This is why he's playing point guard, because he's an impactful player defensively with his size. If he can just elevate those skills that he already has, no, they can't. No. All right? They can't. And I still believe that Joel Embiid is extremely undersized. Well, undersized. I'm gonna say undersized. Like he's not strong enough to be able to hold down a center position. When a 6'7" center could stop you from getting to your spots consistently, a 6'7" center and you're 7 foot can stop you. You have a problem, man.
I think they can be if Ben Simmons gets himself a jump shot. Because I honestly don't believe we're having this discussion about the state of affairs with the Philadelphia 76ers.
People have, all right, and I'm gonna end it right here. But people have been saying that Ben Simmons needs to add a 3-point shot all off season. And I've never seen this guy actually improve his 3-point shot, improve his mid-range shot. I haven't seen his shooting game improve at all. So I don't know, man. This team has a lot of issues, man. That's why I can see them getting bounced out in Game 6. All right.